Council Lady Moon is coming and Mr. Lee as well. So, in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and call the council meeting to order. And we could all stand and keep the Lord's Prayer in unison. Remain standing and let us salute the flag of the United States of America. Let us pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you see them out there, Mrs. Gillette? I wanted them to. Here we go. Right. Helen. We see Council Lady Moon and Lee coming. Okay. Well, they're coming. We just go ahead with preliminaries. Roll call. Council, Honorable City Clerk.
Mayor Ford.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Haygood.
Present.
Council Member Whitehead. Here. Council Member Moon is on her way.
Right.
Council Member Lee is on his way as well.
Two of you also. Call the roll again for you. Good morning. Call the roll again. We acknowledge that. We acknowledge that. So, call it.
Mayor Ford.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Haygood.
Here.
Council Member Moon.
Here.
Council Member Whitehead.
Here.
Council Member Lee.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all members of the council are present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank all the members of the council for being here. I know everyone is busy, so we now have the full council here. We want to say good morning to all of our citizens and thank you for coming. And I see the Honorable Jacqueline Gillette, thank you for being here. Secretary Treasurer of our Utilities Board. I don't see any of our other officials here. Now, let us proceed with our agenda. The chair will entertain a motion for adoption of the agenda as circulated.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Moved by the Pro Tem, second by
We need
Ms.
to add a couple things.
All right. Okay. Please proceed, Mr. Manager.
Okay, we are going to actually give you a copy of the financial report. We'll put that under the city manager's communications. We can do it under A, let's call it A1. I think that's the only one. That's the only addition that we will actually give you the financial report.
Okay.
We can't hear you.
The chair, I'm sorry. The chair will entertain a motion that we adopt the agenda with that one amendment.
Mr. Mayor, so moved, we adopt the agenda with the addition of an A financial report at A1.
Second motion.
Second by Council Lady Whitehead. Questions, comments? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion, please give the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, so be it. It is adopted. We'll go now to the approval of the minutes for July 21st, 2016.
I so move.
Moved by Council Lady Whitehead. Second by Council Member Lee. Questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion, please give the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposers, please give the sign of nay. The minutes are approved. Citizens' communications, limited to 3 minutes. limited to 3 minutes. Limited to 3 minutes. Any citizens' communications? Being none, we'll move to the next item. Work session, banking expansion, summer recreation announcements, none of those things. TU, no one is here from TU. City manager, we're ready for you, Mr. Manager.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm so used to saying good evening, everyone. It's kind of different and unique. We just have a couple of things under here, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we have a short agenda because we're going to go into the budget review immediately following. First item here is I want to note that you do have in front of you the financial report that covers through through July. You have that in front of you. You have not had time to review it, so what we're going to do is ask you to just receive it today, and then we can come back and officially approve it at the next council meeting, which will be September 13.
Okay? That's good. So everyone does have a copy of it. Shall we entertain a motion that we receive it and we'll address it at our next regular council meeting? Moved by Council Lady Whitehead.
Councilwoman Whitehead, can you have pending review?
Pending review.
Second.
Second by the pro tem. Questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, please give the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposers, please give the sign of nay. So be it. Proceed, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is the street maintenance report. It's a short report because we had a real quick turnaround time here in terms of our meeting, but it is attached. If you see anything in there that you'd like to address, or if you have some additional concerns, street concerns, we have to address them. I think you called in this morning with some here regarding a request to look at daily streets, so we have that. And we have anything that you have given us previously, we already have and are addressing. We're looking for new things at this point.
I have some
Okay.
new concerns. On Baker Drive, I got a call from a citizen on Baker Drive that there are 2 large holes right in front of his house, that's Mr. Baker. And also...
This Murray Baker?
Murray Baker. I also got a call from Judge Biggers. She's concerned about Chappie James. She says that the gravel is eroding and you can really see the pipe. So she's afraid that maybe somebody might go over in there. She wants to know when we going to complete that project.
I spoke to her about that. The county has control of that, and we'll follow up and make sure that that's done. They were letting that settle for a while. Kind of sounds like it's settled enough now. But yes, we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, JD said he actually has it on schedule to do it either this week or next week. Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Mayor,
sir.
thank you. Mr. Manager, I know you said that you already have it listed, but I did want to lift Farmville Street up again, the end of Farmville right there. Yes, the hole is expanding, and the only reason I emphasize that, what you probably already know, so many people turn in that corner, they turn fast, and if you hit that hole, it's pretty bad. It's really big. If we can get a chance to get to it, I know.
Yeah, we need to expedite that because a couple other calls came in.
Okay. Thank you.
Could I say one more thing? Are we doing any patching at the present time?
Yes, you'll see patching.
Okay, we have some holes on the lake shore. We have some holes around there. If somebody could please come and try to take it out.
And before you ask, we're going to be cutting again around the lake. I saw yesterday it needs some more attention.
You know I was coming to that. I'm concerned about that, keeping that lake clean.
I talked to Kurt about that. Maine was in jury duty yesterday. I talked to Kurt, and they were going to look at starting today doing some work on it.
Have one point. I second the
This, I know overall grass cutting, with this rain, but specifically Abbott Park football field, the grass is pretty high for practice out there, so we can get that cut. That would be great as well.
Okay. All right.
I have a couple more items, but it's nothing concerning the streets.
Okay.
You want to get on now?
Sure.
Okay.
Never put off the later. That's what you can do now.
We have a dumpster next to the comprehensive health that is stinking, trash all around it. I called you about this dumpster. It's across from Big Bath, the one next to the comprehensive health. And now everybody use it, but the people next door, the Chinese, Japanese, whoever they are. They say it smells bad.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
everybody come and dump, but they put it all outside, so we need some kind of regulation, something on that.
Okay, we'll do that.
And also, one more item, we're concerned about the other store, we're gonna take care of that.
I talked to Mr. Tarver, I told him that we have accepted a quote to do the work. It's a matter now of scheduling time for them to go ahead and do it. So he knows that that's,
He knows it?
yes.
Okay, because I know.
Mr.
I know
Tarver,
that-
right?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Tarver.
that's who I talked to.
go there and get food, I know it's still the same thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, do you have any idea, as late as this morning? So, do you have any general idea how long it may take?
Well, that's what I told him. I'll find out from the contractor and get a date back to him so we'll know specifically what's expected.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
And one more, I just wanted to check for an update for the signage on Greenwood.
So as soon as the signs
So,
come in,
okay,
put them up.
so they're ordered, they hadn't gotten it yet. Gotcha.
Okay.
And if you could check with the county on Washington Avenue, how they come bridges out on Washington.
Okay. All right, the next item would be the Head Start report. And I see Ms. Phillips is here. She's going to cover her area, the summary, and highlight those that need to be highlighted. Do you have any items that require any specific approval or just receiving the, your report?
Third item.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Council members, mayors, city manager, city clerk, attorney, and citizens. We just have 3 items. The first 2 items are our regular reports. If you have any questions regarding the regular expenditure reports, including credit card, I'd be happy to address those. The third item is an early Head Start expansion grant opportunity as well as the application included. It was foreseen before that we were going to be having a challenge with perhaps maintaining enrollment for our Head Start age children, ages 3 and 4, because now parents in the community have another option of attending pre-K with the Macon County Board of Education. So once we assessed our community assessment, we saw that there were a large number of children birth to 3 who were not being served in the community. So Office of Head Start released an early Head Start expansion grant opportunity, and we would like to go for that so that we can serve those children who are not being served in the community for early Head Start.
Well, go for it. Do you want us to pass a resolution urging you and authorizing you to apply?
Approval is good enough.
Okay, all right.
Approval is good enough. So with your approval, we'll move forward on that opportunity so that we can.
Chair will entertain a motion to that effect.
I so move.
Moved by Whitehead.
Second.
Second by Moon. Questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion, please give the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed, nay, so be it. Proceed, please.
Thank you. That ends the report. Unless there are any questions.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Keep up the good work. You have, yes, please, Council Lady Whitehead.
I'm concerned about our building, you know, there's so many people talking about the building, going here, going there. Tell us what's the status of the building being built for Head Start. I mean, there's so much garbage out there. Tell us something.
Okay, in my communications with the city manager and our works, although we've been declined from other banks in the past, we are pursuing other banks, so we're not stopping. We do also have the other option of finalizing the USDA rural development application. So there are 2 options we're moving forward on at this time. So the main thing is to secure funding. So once we secure funding, we can send the updated information to regional office, have them approve it, and move forward.
Thank you. That helps me to understand really.
Yes.
Well,
So anyone who want to donate $2 million, we'll
2.2 million.
2.2 million, we can start.
Just to expand a little bit on that, the other week, at our last meeting here in Ford, bank looking to do business in the community. We have submitted the full package that we submitted to the other financial institutions to them to review. And she also mentioned the USDA. We're working on that. We need one little piece of paperwork, I think, don't we, before we can go ahead and submit
Yes, from
that
Mr.
one.
Carter.
So we're working on two different options right now, two different opportunities for the building.
Yes, I wanted to add one thing to that. At one point, we had been approved,
Yes.
and I think we decided as a council to look at another site. That's why the process was delayed. We decided as a council to look at another site because we didn't like the site that had been previously approved by the federal government. That is a fact. It's in the minutes. We decided to look at another site, and the council decided that's what we wanted to do. And once that was delayed, then the banks, of course, changed. And we were under some other kind of financial scrutiny. So that was a real delay in the campus and it being built.
Did that result in the decision to go with Taylor Road?
That was the original site,
I
yes.
thought that was the last action we took to approve at that site.
No, we said we didn't like that site.
Later.
But I think we later did come back and approve that
Yeah,
site.
it was too late.
We came back and approved after your recommendation that we approved that we did.
Well, it was too late.
I hear what Ms. Moon is saying. There was a slight pause in discussion and the decision-making. Meanwhile, when the bank obtained the audit at that time, the previous audit before that was good, pretty good. But when the bank, because of that delay in discussion and decision-making, when the bank received the next audit, then the decision that the bank made was to pull out pause because of the audit.
Thank you.
Also had something about financial condition.
Right.
Right, that's why financial condition is so critical to anything that we do. Audit is a financial condition.
And the audits are better now. We did send the audit, the last audit to the regional office, and we got a response that it looks good. So hopefully banks in our new approach, in the way we're approaching the banks now, will receive approval.
You get a minute, just get a chance to comment on some people who were successful in their start, some ability thing.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Before you go any further, Councilman Lee, you are exactly right. We talked about looking at some different sites. I know the pro tem was interested in a thoroughfare. I was interested in a thoroughfare. And we agreed as a council to look at another site. Then we finally came back and resolved that we just go along with that particular site. But that's not the reason, and I don't want anyone to try and make a political issue out of it, that's why we don't have a Head Start building built. Because it does not take rocket science to build a Head Start center, especially when you've got funding coming from the federal government that is used to pay a lease on a consistent basis. So the revenue stream is there. The financial wherewithal of the city was a major concern. As a matter of fact, there was a prohibition when the city had the internal revenue issue, but we resolved that issue. So at some point, the council, whenever it's ready, and the city manager, we can look at Troy Bank or some other financial institution, because let's make it clear, these two local financial institutions have not been willing to make any loans. The only one that's making any loans to help this community really is the credit union. So audit or no audit, we just couldn't convince that bank really to do anything. Liberty, we had hoped that they would do something. But you're right, Mr. Lee, we said, let's go with this site. Because the issue has been raised about the site. The site's no longer the question here. It's not, we'll go with that site. If that's what you want, that's fine. Okay? And whenever, Mr. City Manager, you're ready to present a proposal to the council on financing the Head Start, we can put that back on the table. And it can either be done by a bank or by a bond issue. We just need to decide which way we want to go. And I'm really very pleased to see that you're applying for the free early education, because a couple of years ago when that was announced, it was announced that we would be one of the centers that would be considered if we applied. Yes. So please go for that. Yes. Go for that. Yes. Did you have something?
Yes, sir. Thank you. In all fairness to Liberty Bank, I think that they did come through for us, but in the banking situation, we haven't established a strong relationship with Liberty Bank. And when you ask for large dollars, I think as council, we need to look at that at some point. We have very few deposits in Liberty Bank. All our deposits in PNC, both on this side and utility side. So in all fairness to that bank, usually when you have substantial deposits, you can then come in and make loans. We just haven't set up a relationship I'd like for us to consider at some point. Because while they're a local bank, we don't treat them like one. We don't put very little money in all our accounts in PNC. I don't know why we choose to stand with that if PNC is not going to stand with us, but I think we should give Liberty an opportunity and reach out to them to see if we can set up relationships with them in the future. We can consider funding. I know most banks are very hard to get any kind of loan if you have no relationship with them, inside or outside.
The Pro Tem is speaking for himself, because this administration, when the chairman of the board of Liberty Bank came to this city, I was there and other community leaders. We were there to meet them and to offer to establish a relationship. As a matter of fact, we said to our city manager, let's begin to transfer some of our resources to Liberty Bank. And I know the Utilities Board has done that. I personally bank at Liberty. They are a wonderful bank, founded in 1972. We do the very best that we can. But Liberty chose not to fund Exit 38 project. They chose not to fund the Head Start program. And this is no criticism of them, but that's a fact. We love them, we appreciate them, and I hope we will put more money into Liberty. Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to add, it was a high concern that Liberty did not help Head Start secure the loan to build. Head Start's accounts are with Liberty and have been with Liberty for years. And with them viewing the cash flow from Head Start, it was a concern when we were denied.
And we reminded them of that during our discussions.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's Head Start's accounts that has to be backed by the city as well, right?
Well, yes, they ultimately see the city as the grantee, the overseers of the Head Start.
I'm just saying, I would hope that we would have a strong relationship with them from the city side, and I appreciate you sharing that. Because in the total package, we were not only turned out by Liberty, we were also turned out by other banks at Exit 38 as well. And a lot of it has to do with what kind of standing do we have in our relationship. That's all I'm saying. We keep coming up saying Liberty is not servicing us, but when we go for major loans like that to Liberty, we're talking about millions of dollars, and we also have to have that amount of cash flow into those banks. It's like if you look at the university, everybody knows the university has a strong relationship with Regions. Well, Regions backing a lot of things at the university because they put a lot of dollars in the Regions. So I think if we get to that point, we look at that, that'll put us in a strong position in the future. Just a suggestion so that we can clarify what our position is with it.
You keep saying our position. It is the position of the majority of this administration that Liberty is a banking partner of ours. We treat them with respect. We give them opportunities to fund things.
I'm just talking about, Mr. Mayor, the number of accounts. What banks look at is the number of dollars you put in this bank when you come tomorrow compared to any other bank. All our dollars, if you count the number of accounts, we can go down and count it, PNC. You go to Liberty, we may have 2 or 3 accounts, if we have 2. And then Head Start, I'm glad you told me that, but when you look at it, for the majority of these years, all our money has been in Alabama Exchange, PNC, RBC, and been at Liberty.
Liberty just got to town, Mr. Pro Tem. Gee whiz.
First Tuskegee, Liberty been there a long time. They just changed over to Liberty, but First Tuskegee's been there for a while. We haven't had accounts there. Liberty has come in and taken over First Tuskegee, but we don't have a history with it.
Okay, all right, enough on that matter. Thank you, Madam Head Start Director. Thank you so much. When you're ready to move with the building, we'll put it back on the agenda. And let's do it so we can get our what you call our babies out of those trailers over there at Lewis Adams. I mean, it really makes no sense for us not to go ahead and build this building. So we're ready, whenever you are. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just one last comment. And this is basically to us, to the council. It's all in your approach as well. And we, as a council, have to look at how we approach the bank, especially if we don't have any money in there. We need to check the way we do business, and it's in your approach to trying to get money. We need to look at, do we go in with a demanding order, or do we go in, even though the federal government is going to take the note, like the mayor said, we are ready. But when we deal with these banks, we have to check the way we approach things.
Council Lady Moon, I certainly do appreciate your benevolent and good intentions of sharing how you think we should approach financial institutions. But obviously, you know you're dealing with people here on this council. We're all grown. We have tremendous experience with dealing with investment banking firms, with commercial banks, etc. And in terms of how to get money from institutions, we all know how to do this, I think. But we appreciate your concern, and we think that our approach was quite professional. And Mr. Alden, who is a good friend, personal friend of mine, as a matter of fact, the bank was founded in 1972 in New Orleans when I worked in New Orleans. And I was one of the first ones to put a deposit in the bank when I was in New Orleans. But he and I go way, 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 way back. Not only him, but Norman Francis, retired president of Xavier University, was the chairman of the board. So when you talk about the relationship with Liberty, it was a wonderful relationship. That's one of the reasons why we were so disappointed that they didn't come through. But at any rate, Mr. Manager, you're listening to all of this, and I'm sure you are going to look at it. Okay.
One question there, by receiving your full report, that automatically grants you the approval to proceed on item 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need an official receipt
Of the entire.
report.
Okay. Right, but please proceed.
Thank you all.
Apply for that money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go to, what's next? Go ahead, proceed.
Don't you have to receive the report? Did we have an official receipt?
Oh, we did, but let's do it again
You
just to
received,
make
you
sure.
approved, I think number 3, you have to approve. this
Well, let's
report.
approve the whole thing. The chair will entertain a motion that we
I
approve.
so moved.
Second?
Moved and properly second. Questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion, give the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. So be it. Next item.
Okay, next item is the review or discussion of the franchise fee agreement covering the 3% franchise fee that the council approved several weeks ago. And I think you all received the draft from Attorney Gray earlier. I gave you a hard copy here today in case you forgot to bring your copy with you. So we'd just like to go over that and get everybody's input, comments, suggestions, etc. If you have any right offhand, please feel free to offer them. I do have a strong concern about one of the sections, but
Let's go to that first.
okay, my concern is section 3.
Section 3.
This has to do with the priority of payment of the franchise fee. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the obligations of the utility board to pay franchise fees to the city hereunder shall be subject and subordinate to the obligation of the utilities board to make timely payment of all indebtedness or obligations of the utility board incurred with respect to the utilities board ownership, operation, and improvement of the systems, including without limitation the utility revenue bond series 2012, as well as other indebtedness of the utility board to any person, as well as any other indebtedness of the utilities board to any person or any financial institution that may be outstanding at any time, collectively the outstanding obligations. That's where I have my challenge. If you read down a little further, in the event that the utilities board shall not have sufficient monies, then they will pay us in the next possible one. My concern is that we are the low person in terms of the payment totem pole priorities here. First cut is the bond. Next is any other indebtedness that the utilities board have. Then if there's any other money left, then the franchise fee is paid.
Councilman Lee?
Yes, sir. I read that, and at first I had some concerns about it as well. But I would believe that would probably be as a result of the bond indenture that the utility board is in currently right now. And meaning that they're already, when they went under receivership, they have to pay those indentures and their indebtedness first.
That's not the concern, the bond part of it. The part of it as well as any other indebtedness. That's the part that I have an issue with. Does that mean any other obligation they have will come before the city? City is paid. Bond, that's understood. That's part of the bond agreement, I believe.
Well, you got you got the majority of the utilities board here. That's the city manager. I think there's no danger from the utilities board not being able to meet its obligations. But you've got the majority of the utilities board here, so, and if you'd like for me to join you in a meeting, with Mr. Samuel or with the board,
Well, I think that's a
do that.
discussion whether the council is willing to accept the third priority in terms of payments, allow all other financial obligations to come before the obligation to pay the franchise fee. I don't know if that's a discussion between the city manager and the general manager. I think that's for the council to decide if they want to accept this. I would suggest we do not accept this.
Well, what I'm saying, Mr. City Manager, you got it even better than that. You have the majority of the utility board sitting here, so make your pitch.
My pitch is to delete as well as any other indebtedness of the utilities board to any person or any financial institution that may be outstanding at any time, collectively the outstanding obligations.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so who wants to go for, wait a minute,
I yield.
oh, the attorney, okay. Huh?
I yield to Mayor.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, your lawyer, Fred Jr., who has been working with you on both the ordinance and on the agreement, we're having our semi-annual term of the civil jury trial, and he's in the process now of trying the case, which is why he's not here, and he asked me to come. What he wanted was for you to get an opportunity to look at it, not to act on it today. And I think the issue that the city manager has raised with respect to, as well as any other indebtedness of the utility board, is a legitimate concern that we need to be concerned about. There's no question, but it's going to be subject to the bonded indebtedness and any other bonded indebtedness. But any others may be a little too broad. So the legal department would recommend that you review it. And as we said when this issue first came up, that we would hope the city manager and the general manager of the utility board would end up reviewing these matters, and if they could agree on them, then it would be good. We wouldn't have any problems with the others. So all I'm saying is that if you'll review it, I'm sure we'll look at that section and any other sections that you have. If you'll just send them to Fred, we'd be happy to look at it, and hopefully all of those matters be taken into consideration. And it may be that the city manager of the city and the general manager of the board may be able to look at all of these things, and we can all come up with what we want to do. And that is, we want a good ordinance that you have and a good agreement that even though we think the court was wrong in the Cox case, but we would have solved all of the issues that he raised, all 5 of them. And I think that will put us in excellent position legally. So what our recommendation is that you consider it and act on it at a later date.
Mr. Botel and Councilman Lee.
I'm good, Mr. Mayor. I would accept the attorney's recommendation, and I agree with the city manager. Primarily, that we don't want to get much below the bond that they did, just because then we become a lesser priority, and it's easy to end our budgets. Once you put something down at a lower level, some other things may come in and take priority, and that can put us in a difficult position, because if we base our budget based on that franchise fee, and then say something else come in, they make some other obligations beyond the bond that is as a utility board, then that could put the city in a challenge. So I would agree that we accept the attorney's recommendation to highlight what we'd like to reconsider, and then wait to meet the attorney at a later time.
Councilman Lee.
I don't have any further comment, but I agree. I think we should wait.
Mr. City Manager. Oh, Councilman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager. I like the idea, this is good, but that all or any other, that is a simple, if the general manager agrees, we can strike that out, because like Mr. Pro Tem said, once you get way down there, you may and may not. So I agree that we need to look at that inclusion and perhaps take it out if we can, if it's agreeable. Everything else, I've read it several times. You sent it to us some time ago. And everything else looks good.
Well, one other thing that, following up on the attorney's suggestion here, is that I've asked for a copy of the current franchise agreement, just to take a look at what's in the current agreement versus this, and then we'll see what we want to discuss incorporating into the fresh document. Once we get all of that together, Mr. Samuel and I will sit down and we'll go through it. So we'll have information to you prior to the September 13th meeting. So hopefully the September 13th meeting will be in sync, and the UPT will also be in sync with where we can move forward.
I agree with that today. Sounds like agreement is legal. I heard that also. Look at it.
So everyone's agreeable? All right. Now, Mr. City Manager, this ordinance is fine. We can act on it and move on it whenever we're ready to do it. But the one that I would like for the council to reconsider again is a 2% license fee, business fee, whatever, to get this up to 5% again, so that, Mr. City Manager, you do not have that loss of that 2%. Other cities are doing it, and I'm convinced we can do it as well. I made that suggestion several weeks ago, but the council, I don't think the majority, felt that we should pursue that at that time. But I want to have the council and the city manager to keep that in mind. A 3% franchise fee, fine. But I also think we should consider a 2% license fee, which would bring it back to the 5%, so that the level of support would be be the same, Other cities are doing it. Now, this judge may not agree. Of course, I don't agree with the judge. The league doesn't agree with the judge. Our attorney doesn't agree with the judge. So, but the point is, what the utilities board would have to look at is whether or not they can do that in terms of, because no one wants rates to go up, and we're not proposing that rates go up. But I just think that there are ways that the utilities board and the city can work together and cut and save money by sharing resources. Now that we're out of receivership and have proven that the two bodies can operate separately and jointly owned, there's important things that are in the mutual interest of both bodies. I think that we could get the 2% and not put the utilities board in a position where they have to go up on rates. That's just my humble consideration of this matter. And Mr. City Manager, you're the one who's got to deal with the budget. So if you think it wise to bring that back before the council, I would certainly make a motion that we consider it. But whatever.
Mr. Mayor.
But in the meantime, we're going to hold on this one, right? That's what the council.
Yes, we'll address it again at the second and third time.
All right, yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, that's consistent, if you recall, at the first meeting we had when the court rendered its decision. We suggested that the city manager, the managers of the two bodies, sit down, come up with a plan where you would be able to do something legally within the framework of what the court said, and at the same time be able to have substantially the same amount of money that you need so you can operate. And all of that is consistent, I think, with what we're saying.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I was just saying I would support that position and your position if we can have the superintendent of the utilities board show us that we wouldn't have to raise rates.
Okay.
That was an issue that came before us. Is that they had indicated something about raising rates, and we weren't ready to look at that. So we can support that if they can identify the savings without raising rates between the city manager, Mr. Sanders, and the CFO, Mr. Jared Clay. So I would support your position if we can get them to bring something forward that says we wouldn't have to raise rates again.
That is something we all agree on. No increase in utility rates, right, Madam Secretary?
No, zero.
But, so you two managers, see if you can get together.
Okay.
Okay, good. Proceed.
All right, the next item would be the announcements. I think you all know that August 23rd is the date of the city election, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. August 26th through 27th will be all Macon County Day activities in the downtown square. August 30th, we will canvass election results and issue the certificate of election, and thereby making the election results official. Those are the only announcements I have. Mayor, you have any announcements to add to that?
No, I think we're all set. Are there any other matters to come before? Let's see. You go ahead and proceed. What's next on the
Well,
agenda?
ordinance and resolutions, we don't have any.
Okay.
So we're at the city attorney's report.
Yeah, Mr. Charles.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I have some good news on the Cox case. If you pass that out, Madam Clerk, it is a certificate, Supreme Court certificate of judgment. If you remember,
Hold 1 second.
back in,
Hold 1 minute, Mr. Attorney. We're about to get these.
should be a copy of that.
And Ms. Jackie, you can have my copy. I will make sure the newspaper gets it.
And what it in effect says is that whereas the ruling on the application for rehearing filed in this case and indicated below was entered in this case on August 12, 2016. If you remember, the Supreme Court ruled earlier that the motion for summary judgment that Judge Young had entered when he said that everything in the complaint, and I think I'm going to take a little time just to explain the case because it's nothing, this is all history. But the most important part of this case is this aspect of it, because what they were alleging was that there was a conflict of interest between the utility board and the city. And even though the state statute, and there had been a constitutional amendments, 2 of them, providing it, they were still saying that there was a conflict of interest. And they wanted everybody on the utility board to be put off of the board, and the court would end up setting up a procedure as to how the utility board would be elected. If that had happened, it would have been chaos for this community. And I think Judge Young recognized it, and even without the other side asking that he make his order final, he made it final. And the Supreme Court held, and this is what it says in the 2nd paragraph, they filed after the court ruled, and this is what the court ruled before. It says, whereas the appeal in the above referenced case has been duly submitted and considered by the Supreme Court of Alabama, and the judgment indicated below was entered in this case on May 20th, 2016, and this is what that judgment was. Affirmed, no opinion, and then it ended up indicating who the judges were. Normally, when cases are appealed to appellate courts, they give opinions. But as a part of its opinion, they cited 2 rules of the court. And the rule was that the law was so well settled, the way Judge Young had it, that it would serve no useful purpose for the appellate court to say anything on it. And notwithstanding that, they filed an application for rehearing. When we looked at the application for rehearing, normally you always respond to it, but they raised no new issues. And the legal department decided, rather than to spend time preparing a brief and having to bill you for it, we thought that the decision of the court was so well taken until we did not respond to it. And as a result of that, not responding to it because it was well taken, the court overruled the application. So the most important part of this case, and the most devastating part, would have been to deny people who had voted on you to serve on the utility board that right. Now that that is straight and the Supreme Court has held and has denied the motion for rehearing, this part of the case is the most important part of cause, because you can do as you are doing now. You are correcting what this court says even though we disagree with it. So we get it at 3%, we'll end up getting the other money, we'll be able to do it, and this city will be able to operate. And that's the position of it. I'm very glad that this opinion was here. It just happened that Judge Young is holding court this week, and I told him on yesterday that the Supreme Court had upheld this decision. That's the good news. The other thing, of course, the judge has continued, he continuously will not enter a final order so we can appeal it. So we have to go on through the process of doing these other things. And he has set a hearing on the motion for class certification for this coming Thursday at 9 o'clock, and that's on the 25th. We're not saying that you necessarily have to be there. If you want to come, you may come. The matter of class certification, whatever the court does, what we want to try to do with this case is move it along now as quickly as we can so we can get a final order so we can appeal it, because we think ultimately the other side will be knocked out also. That's just our opinion. If there are any questions on that, I'd be happy to respond.
Okay. Honorable counsel, any questions to the attorney? Okay.
I don't have any questions. I'd like to thank you. Thank you so very much for this information. I'm happy about this, that council people can remain and the utility board folk can still serve on the utility board from the council. And that's a great thing. And I hope that we'll be able to appeal this case and just knock it out. You know, it's just a terrible situation to have this case on this city utility board, taking money from our pockets, coming from each one of us, if it survives.
And the one thing we tried to tell the court, and the court wouldn't listen, is regardless of what happened in this case, even if they win, they may win the battle and lose the war, because we, the people who use the utilities, gonna have to pay all of the expenses. If they win, you have to pay them and pay their lawyer. You have to pay your own lawyers. So we'll end up having to pay. And I don't think the person who was solicited to be plaintiffs in this case understood fully the import of what they were doing. Now, we lawyers like to have class action cases because that is a good area for fee generating. But we want to thank you, and let me just conclude the legal department saying to this council, we appreciate the opportunity of representing you. And I personally want you to know that when I moved from Montgomery a long time ago, I did it with the view of hoping we could get our people so we could register, and so I have the opportunity of representing you. You have permitted me to do that. I'm very appreciative to it, and I want every one of you to know that I wish you well in Tuesday's election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Attorney. Any questions or further comments relative to the legal work? I want to thank you too, Mr. Attorney, and all along the Alabama League of Municipalities has maintained that this court was not taking the proper position on this, and the league is ready to work with our local legal staff on this matter. Because what is happening to this city is causing a serious financial challenge to our operation. It also have our citizens upset because all of them, many of them out there are waiting for some refund, and they are up in the air, upset about that. So I'm hopeful that all of this can be resolved as soon as possible. Do you have anything else, Mr.
You
City
need
Manager?
to receive the attorney report.
Chair will entertain a motion to receive. Moved by the pro tem, moved by pro tem, second by Mrs. Whitehead. We have received the attorney's report with appreciation. Questions, comments, those in favor of the motion give a sign of aye. Opposers, nay, so be it. Chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Move.
After lunch is provided.
Lunch is provided to everyone who's here.